my name is Ross Wilson. I'm a veterinarian and Chief Scientific Officer with Plasvac. Today I want to talk to you about reactions that might be experienced during or following a plasma transfusion. I'm going to split this into two sections. Firstly, I'm going to deal with Caniplas, and then I'm going to deal with other plasma. And the other plasma might come from a blood bank, or it might be made by the veterinarian themselves. The point I'm going to make about that plasma is how little we know about it. With Caniplas, where we use universal plasma donors that are screened for blood-borne infections and on heartworm prevention and hyperimmunisation, we know, and every batch of plasma is tested for sterility, purity and potency and safety. We know that there's no blood cells in it. We know there's no other viral diseases in it. Another reason why we know that is because our dogs live in quarantine. We know that there's a certain potency of antibodies in the plasma, and we know that every batch is tested for sterility. So that makes the plasma much more pure, and the vet can have much more confidence that there are not going to be reactions. The most important also I need to stress is the low number of blood cells that are in the plasma. So what reactions can we expect from a plasma transfusion? They're mainly just allergic, and they're mainly only caused by basically placing a foreign protein into the bloodstream of another animal. So these reactions are going to be principally allergic in nature, ranging in severity from slight facial edema, edema of the ear pinny, and also edema of the eyelids, which is quite simply treated with some antihistamines without any problems at all. About 1 in 1,000 dogs will react in this way. Not very many. You're not going to see many in your professional life. About 1 in 1,000 of those dogs that do react may actually react with a full-blown anaphylactic reaction. This should happen pretty soon after the transfusion starts. So it's always a good idea for that 1 in a million shot that you keep your emergency injectable solutions handy, namely antihistamines, preferably one you can use intravenously, corticosteroids that can be used intravenously, and your adrenaline tartrate injection that you will need, and also maybe some supply of oxygen. These are all very rare occurrences, but being prepared is half the battle in these because time is of the essence. Now, the other reactions I want to talk about are the ones that you might be inclined to experience with plasma that hasn't been made very well. The first thing that you may have is the plasma may not be sterile. So you're going to have a dog that develops sepsis. It may take 12 to 24 hours to come on, but nevertheless, that is a problem if the plasma isn't sterile. If there's any cells left in the plasma, a significant number of cells, the plasma may even be pink. There is a risk that you may actually have an acute hemolytic transfusion reaction if there's a mismatch of blood groups between the Plasvac donor, or the donor of the poorly made plasma, and the recipient. And that can be quite disastrous as well. Too many platelets in the plasma can induce a thrombocytopenia in the recipient. Too many white cells can induce an eosinophilic reaction or an allergic reaction. The other things you need to think about in the plasma you're collecting is you don't know what the potency of the antibodies are. Therefore, the reaction is you may not get any effect at all. And also, the important thing is for plasma that's not made in a regulated environment, there's no knowledge of what it can do, no knowledge of its shelf life. So if it's been stored in your freezer for 3 to 5 months and there's contamination with bacteria or blood cells, there's a chance that all of the proteins in that plasma will have been consumed, even while frozen, by these contaminating cells. So the main thing I want to talk about is the advantages of Plasvac's plasma over these in terms of reaction, and then you've got the added advantage of the targeted antibodies.